Hello, Astro van enthusiasts, automotive enthusiasts. My name is Dennis Sietsma. I'm in Homestead, Florida, Dennis John Sietsma Productions. I would like to torque down these 10 bolts on the VIN W RPOL35 engine in sequence and to the torque spec, but I'm not happy with bolt number 9 about the length of it. It seems like 2 1/4 inch long is too short and 3 inches is too long, so I think 2 1/2 inch would be good. And it does not appear, these do not appear to be SAE bolts. They appear to be an M6 bolt, but I don't know the threads side. And anyway, it's 9:50 a.m. on August 20th, 2024. August 20th, 2024. It's a Tuesday. And I'm trying to install a remanufactured engine from Powertrain Products into my 1994 Astro van that I've owned since it was new. I think I messed around with this in the past, and I got this 3 inch long bolt in the past, and the threads are correct. So I may have to take this bolt somewhere and have somebody help me, because all my dies don't work out. The closest one I have is an M6-0, which I think is a coarse, but I don't have an M6 in fine. And why they used metric bolts, you know, I thought these were all SAE, but you know, I've tried the SAE quarter-28 and the SAE quarter-20, and you know, I've got SAE quarter-20, which is coarse, flange bolts, and you know, I just can't figure it out. And I've got a tap and die set, but I'm not that familiar with the M6 or what these bolts are. So if there's somebody in the audience, please post a comment. And thank you for people in the audience that have posted comments. There's some very knowledgeable people out there, and I appreciate their help with this project just by posting a comment. And you can subscribe or unsubscribe at any time, that's fine. The other thing that's weird is the valve covers. Now, I marked the valve covers the way they go, and I bought new ones because one of them was broken, and I didn't know that. It fell apart in my hands while I was working on moving things around. And anyway, it shows the bolt, you know, the way the oil fill, it's on one bank for these engines for CKG and ML. What the hell is that? CKG or M, I don't understand that. Or valve cover or valve rocker arm cover for P and ST. And I don't know, usually what they do is they say in the service manual, they say for VIN Z or VIN W engines what it is and how it should be. And as you go through the service manual, like there it says VIN W engine shown, and on this diagram, if this is VIN W, and it says it is, so that's RPOL35 is VIN W. I looked it up, trying to figure out which is the front of the engine and what is the rear of the engine from this photograph. But okay, that's the front of the engine, because that's where the it shows the oil filler on the driver's side on the left bank for the VIN W. So I assume that that's correct, and the other diagram is just confusing. This is the VIN Z engine, and this shows the same thing with the oil fill on the left bank. So very confusing. but in the general description they talk about VIN Z and VIN W. On the Astro van groups, we talk about VIN Z and VIN W all the time. You know, VIN Z is throttle body injection, and VIN W in 1994 is CPI, central port injection, or central multi-port the original system from 92 to 95, the CPI, or central multi-port fuel injection. I hate it when they have two names for stuff. All 6 poppets fire at the same time. After 2005 they went to sequential, or CSFI, central sequential fuel injection. And I'm doing all this research. I got a 1994, when I bought the van new in Homestead in 1994, I also bought all the service manuals from Helm, because that's the kind of stuff I do. So it looks like I have the valve covers on backwards. I've got them on the wrong bank, so I have to correct that. But maybe I'm wrong here. Let me see. They show. All right, I said this was the front of the. Okay, this is the back of the engine on TBI, because on this one they've got the EGR on that side. So now that explains the, yeah, okay, it's on the right bank, the oil fill, right bank for a VIN Z engine, and on the left bank for a VIN W engine. And why the heck, when they did these diagrams, did they put the engine facing with the front on this side, but on this diagram they show the front of the engine on this side, including the direction of the exhaust manifolds and all that stuff. Very confusing, people, very confusing. So if anybody knows more than I do by my research, please chime in. And I'm doing these videos. They're a video diary, a video log. This is how Dennis does it. It may not be the best way, but this is what I'm doing, either to help enthusiasts now or in the future who like the first generation Astro van and want to keep them on the road somehow, which, you know, it's getting harder and harder to get parts, especially for the CPI, but you can contact Rock Auto online. And I know it's grayed out sometimes, but you just got to keep checking the website till they ungray it, because GB Manufacturing is only doing so many CPIs a year, and there's a lot of people wanting CPI. Or you can just go on eBay and pay the full price. I see CPIs on eBay available, complete units, core and all, but they're very expensive if you buy it that way. If you have a core, or find one in a salvage yard and it's not been trashed, corroded badly, or damaged with the pins, the maxi injector, the pins are easy to damage, and when the maxi injector is damaged, you're messed up. Your alligator tears time. So, all right, I think I figured out the valve cover thing, or yeah, rocker arm cover. What do they call it? Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and use this 3-inch bolt and just washer it up, even though I hate the length of it on, not on number 9, I'm mistaken. It was on the back of the engine on number 4. You know, I got a good bolt for number 5, that's fine, on the back, center of the back of the engine, and number 6, that's fine, but this one is too long or too short, and that bugs me. I don't know why, but it looks like none of these other bolts are 2.5 inch. They're either 2 1/4 or 3 inch, and like I say, they seem to be an M6. Anyway, we'll go out to the van and talk a little more about what I'm trying to research here and get right. And if anybody knows, please post a comment or go on my Facebook page. And you know, I don't like direct messages, private messages, when you can post on a group and everybody can benefit of the information, not just me. So, and as you see in all my other stuff, I'm not all that shy. If people are shy, they can post anonymously. There's an anonymous feature now on Facebook where you can post. Okay, this is bolt number 4 here. This is the one I don't like because it's too long or it's too short. And that's a 3-inch bolt and it's too long. I need like 2.5 inch. And this other bolt, like on this side, that's like 2 1/4, I think. Anyway, you know, 3 inches too long, 2 1/4 is too short. And you see I have the valve cover on the wrong bank. That's the oil Phillip thing. So I'm going to switch these covers, and then I'm going to probably washer up the hell out of that 3-inch, put a lot of washers on it. And I could use a stud if I had one. Notice the ignition coil are on the stud. And we talked a lot the other day on the other videos, in the past video diaries, about the getting this harmonic balancer on. And I finally ferreted out that that's a 7/16 National Fine. And it's fine, it's just I had to run a bottom tap through the crankshaft on the Powertrain Products remanufactured engine to get that sorted. And I think I have it fully installed, but I can't really tell if I'm all the way in or not. And so I ordered an install tool, and but it won't be here for a week. But I'm going to do what I can do, so I'm going to install a starter next, and then I'll put some motor oil in it. And I have a prime tool for doing the priming, this OEM tool, oil pump prime. I can't believe how many auto shows they never prime these engines. And they, you know, even if you don't know the history of the engine, for crying out loud, put some Marvel Mister Oil in the cylinders and turn it over by hand. See if there's any you don't want to bend rods. You don't want to break piston rings, but in every one of these shows they, oh, let's see if it runs, and they throw in a battery and they hit the starter, and they probably break a lot of stuff, but they won't tell you about it. So I'm very careful. I don't like to damage things because it ends up costing me time or money, and I'm very thrifty. Thrifty people, that's a good word, thrift. I'm told it's a virtue. So I put the distributor in just so I don't drop stuff in the engine like I did in the past. When I swapped out the distributor, I dropped one of those distributor cap bolts into the old engine, and I think that's what destroyed it. But I have a mechanical oil pressure gauge there, so as soon as I get the starter installed and some oil in the engine, which, you know, why I want to get the valve cover sorted is so I can put oil in the engine, I will then, I forgot my train of thought, you know, I will then, you know, prime it. Well, I'll prime it before I hit it with the starter, and then I'll check the oil pressure. And if we're good up to that point, and I'm sure we will be, so far everything's been golden. It's been my problems of, you know, I couldn't get the motor mounts to align because I had it on jacks. When I put the van on its natural suspension, the geometry all straightened out, and it had its natural stance and everything lined up with the engine motor bolts, but motor mount bolts. And I used new motor mount bolts because I didn't like the factory ones. I went with M10 National Fine bolts. And so I'm going to try to get some work done before it starts raining again. It rained all day yesterday, really heavy, but I got the people at Grove Services to come over, and they mowed my grass today, so that's a done thing. It takes me all day on a regular riding mower with a 48-inch cut, my GT 5000. It takes me all day to cut it. They come in with a big mower deck on a diesel tractor, and it takes them 30 minutes, sometimes only 20 minutes, depending on how high the grass is. So I hope you're enjoying my video. If there's any good information in here, please give me a thumbs up. You can subscribe or unsubscribe at any time. I'm not being paid if you watch my videos until I have 4,000 subscribers, and I have like 400. But it's weird. I had a jump of about 100 subscribers recently, so that's cool. So I guess somebody is listening and watching, so thanks for watching. Dennis Seitzma, Homestead, Florida, USA. Do-it-yourself work can be dangerous and cause death or injury. And this is not a how-to or do-it-yourself video. This is a documentary. This is a video diary, a video log. Thanks for watching. Okay, audience, I've made my peace with leaving number 4 as GM made it, too short. But anyway, I'm going to torque these bolts starting here with number 1 and going clockwise to number 10 to 124 inch-pounds, not to be confused with foot-pounds. Foot-pounds is 12 times more than inch-pounds. But you need like an extra long socket to do this, to fit over these studs nicely. But number 4 is too short in my opinion, but that's the way GM made it. If I see an opportunity in the future to replace number 4 bolt with something that I think fits better, but 3 inches too long and 2 1/4 inches too short in my opinion. So if I could get a 2 1/2 inch with the same threads, which I can't determine what it is yet, but I'll get a die for the different M6 sizes and I can put it on the stud and that'll be good. Anyway, I'm going to carry on. Having extra long sockets like this one for your inch-pound torque wrench, and this is an old school one, is a torque bar. The new ones are like electronic. You set them and they go click when you hit the right torque. But 124 inch-pounds, not foot-pound, inch-pounds. And there's 2 more bolts in the center, but it's 10 bolts around the outside and then 2 in the center, unless I'm mistaken. I got to go and look at the diagram again. But if you don't do this before you start the engine, it's going to suck that gasket right in there. There's a lot of vacuum in there. And it's starting to rain again, dagnabbit. Okay, I started with number 1, and then we ran around all the way to 9, and then number 10 is in the center. So it's a regular pattern. Now number 8, I didn't torque fully down to spec because it felt like it was pulling out once I got it past a certain amount of torque. And it's one of those funny bolts too that has the E6 socket on the top of it, or E6, so you can put the thread in and out. And then tighten a bolt with the E6, Torque-X E6. Now, why the hell did GM do that? I mean, they could have just used a panhead bolt here. I don't see any reason why these 2 studs are the way they are. Anyway, I'll get another one at the Chevy dealer because I don't think I can get it otherwise, or if I can, I'll get some specialty bolts if I can find them in M6 or whatever the hell it is, thread. But for now, I'm going to forget about it and move on to other things. I need to get the starter in. I've got a place to fill up with the oil now, if I have this right, on the left bank on the driver's side, that the oil fill is. But something doesn't look right to me, and like I said, for that 1 bolt you need the E6 socket, Torque-X. Something doesn't look right to me though on the oil fill. I don't remember whether it was on the right or the left, so I'll look it up in the operator's manual. But it looks to me like this thing ought to bolt somewhere. Maybe it bolts to the something else, but I don't remember. And I didn't take enough pictures before I took it apart. But the service manual shows that this is the correct location for the valve cover on this RPOL35 VIN W engine, which is different than the Z engine. On the Z engine it shows it on the other side. So, and from the service manual I'm still confused. So if anybody knows, please post a picture, send me a message on Facebook, in the Astro van groups, or post a picture, say, here Dennis, this is what you need, and give me a better idea how to piece this puzzle back together again and get it running. And I did ask on the groups this morning that question, and you can leave me feedback on YouTube in comments. And what kind of oil do we want to put in? Do we use the factory oil as said here? How do we break it in like it says in the service manual, or is there something new under the sun? And the sun is really hot today, hot and steamy, the way I like it. I like it hot. A lot of people don't like heat, but I like it. I like it a lot better than cold. And I almost froze to death one year as a child in Chicago. So kids die up there all the time in the winter. They get out playing, and next thing you know, they got hypothermia and they're gone, or they lay down in the snow and fall asleep. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hello, my name is Dennis Sietzma. It's August 20th, 2024. It's a Tuesday. It's 6:39 in the PM Eastern Time. In this video segment, we're going to talk about installing the starter. Now, a basic starter common configuration is the big cable that comes from the battery goes to this big post on the starter solenoid, and that gives you battery power, whatever the battery power is, high current, like, I don't know, up to 1,000 amps maybe. I don't know what size cable is on there, but this solenoid, when actuated by trying to start the vehicle, gives a dead short between these two terminals, if assuming the solenoid's good. And the way it's turned on or actuated is when 12 volts DC or battery voltage is applied to this tiny little terminal there on the side of it. Now these things do fail, but what they are designed to do and intended to do is, this is a strong magnetic field in it when actuated, and it actually moves the starter engages this into your flywheel, or starter ring I should say, flex plate, and turns the engine and hopefully starts the vehicle. Now for years what I've wanted to do on this 1994 Astro van is add an extra wire going, and this is pretty much inaccessible when the starter's installed, is to add a wire so that I can use my remote starter thingamajig easily when I'm working on it. And I've never done this, and I made this wire long enough, and it's an insulated connector so it won't short out, but that'll be dangling once I get the starter installed. So in the future I can splice on here and run a wire over to someplace convenient in the engine bay to do remote cranking when I want to. It won't start it without the ignition, but it will. Now the other problem people run into is they never change their battery cable. It's a big heavy cable, like, I don't know, number 1 American wire gauge or number 2, something like that, to carry the current that goes between the battery and the starter. And of course manufacturers have to keep costs down on mass produced, so the cables they have, if they're 30 years old like they are on my van, they probably should be replaced. And I like using marine grade wire such as this from Anchor Marine, A-N-C-O-R, Anchor spelled funny. This is sold online by Walmart and many others. You can also get marine grade wire at West Marine or any marine supply store, but I like wire from Pacer Group. It's made in Florida. It's a family owned company, and it's Pacer Group online, pacergroup.net, I think it is. I could be wrong. Look it up, Pacer Group, and they're in Sarasota, Florida, and they have a store at Fort Lauderdale, near Fort Lauderdale International Airport. And you walk in, and boy, they got tons of stuff there, not just wire. They've got terminals, connectors, anything you could think of electrical under the sun. So as you noticed in here, I have pretty good lighting in here, and I'm going to be using my iPhone 14 and taking some pictures here of the important stuff in the book. In the past I've tried to do that, but I always had a shadow or something. Here it's got pretty good lighting, so I'll be doing more of that and replacing my older pictures on the social media groups with better excerpts from this 1994 Astro van or ML van service manual. And so I've already installed the lower and upper plenum with the CPI in it, and I've moved these in the shed to my two spares I got. I got the CPIs up there. The CPI was used from 1992 to 1995, and then they replaced it with another system. So moving on, I've installed the harmonic balancer. I don't know if it's fully installed or not. I've got it on the crankshaft, and that took me a while to sort out that it was 7/16 National Fine threads on the crankshaft, and that was, that was my own ignorance, but I was trying to be very careful. I didn't want to booger up the threads on the crankshaft on a remanufactured engine until I got it sorted out what the threads were. So this starter's not that old. I don't think I put it on more than a year or two ago. The old one just completely failed, just quit, gone. And I've got a spare, I think, too. But anyway, now that I have the upper and lower plenum on and the harmonic balancer, I can dump some oil in it and put the starter on and then prime the engine using the prime tool and check the oil pressure without starting it, and then we will go on from there. But I wanted to show you something on the car outside here in a minute. Let me show you a few things that I might have not pointed out prior. And this is not a how-to, this is a video diary, this is a video log, however you want to say it. This is how Dennis did it, and if you know a better way to do things and you're a professional, tell me. I'm always want to learn from people with experience. But I've been doing this forever, since I was a kid. I like doing this stuff. My family has given me some feedback like, you're too old to be doing that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but this is what I like to do. So this is me. This has always been me. And anyway, I started with motor scooters and small engines, and then moved on to a Vega engine, then Chevy 327 and Chevy Stowbolt 6, and marine engines, outboard engines, motorcycle engines, you name it. I liked working on them, and I had some great engineers and automotive and marine technicians teach me all kinds of things. So let's go to the van for a minute. I want to point out something. I don't know if I have this harmonic balancer fully installed. I went as far as I could till I felt real good resistance with the crankshaft bolt, and with the spark plugs not in it, there's not much resistance. So the crankshaft turns. I tighten. Anyway, I ordered an installation tool, and it won't arrive probably for a week. But what I wanted to point out was these are the two cables going to the starter. This is the big one, and that goes all the way over to the battery somehow through the vehicle. And the smaller one, this purple wire, purple purple is oh gee, I should have made the wire purple instead of dark blue. Anyway, this purple wire is what cranks actuates the starter solenoid and cranks your engine. And this wiring harness has been through the war, and I've got to clean it up a little bit. Now, I have done a continuity test because from here they normally have a cable that goes to the back of the alternator, and that's what we have here. Is this end, the other end of this cable here goes to the back of the alternator, and usually that's a heavy cable too, rated for the output of the alternator, which on this vehicle was standard like 100 and 105 amp, which 100 was standard and 105 was for the towing package. And I put a 200 amp alternator on here from DB Electric, but I'd put such a load on the serpentine belt, I think I want to go back to the standard alternator next time I need to swap alternators. So besides that, I wanted to point out over here, I couldn't tighten one bolt, because I didn't have it a 7/16 deep well, but I got one now. I ordered that online, and here's my oil pump prime tool. And like I said, the prior, I told you, they got some really cool layout here. That this front bolt on both sides is a bigger bolt, and then they got the 1/4-20 bolts. But if you look there, they got the bracket for the transmission cooler lines there. So they've got two studs on, you know, on number one, it's a big bolt, like I said. That's number one in the front, and then two has got a stud on it, and three has got a stud on it. The third stud is where the transmission cooler lines go. Number two is for a clamp that holds this cable that goes to the starter. So it's kind of ingenious what the mechanical engineers did when they designed this. If you are sympathetic to putting it back the way you found it, according to the service manual shows every bolt there on the pan, every stud, and then at the back of the pan there's two studs. And when you're putting on the pan, and you see there's plenty of room, the pan slips right off with the engine installed. There's enough room. You got to wiggle it and jiggle it a little bit to get it in and out, but you want to put the gasket on and then put the back and the rear of the engine first, and then work your way forward. And I've got some notes inside. We'll go in there for a second, and I'll read my notes to you about what the bolts are. I know the pan bolts are 1/4-20, which is SAE coarse, and 3/4 inch seems to be a good length. You may want to do 1 inch on one or two of these, because that pan gasket is so thick that until you get it compressed with the pan installed, 1/2 inch is definitely too short. 3/4 will work, but you got to hold your mouth the right way on some of them, and then the other is like 1 inch. I hope this information helps somebody either now or in the future. If somebody wants to do this, give me a thumbs up if there's anything useful information in here, and you can subscribe or unsubscribe if you want. I'm not being paid if you watch the videos until I have 4,000 subscribers, and I think I have 400 right now, and I doubt I'll ever have 4,000 subscribers, but I'm doing these videos for Astro van enthusiasts and automotive enthusiasts. Let's go inside the shed. It's been raining pretty heavy here in southeast Florida. I'm south of Miami, north of Key Largo in Homestead, in the Redland Farm area. But my notes, I'll try to take a lot of notes and then transfer them to Word document later. As I said, I don't like the number 8 bolt. It's kind of chewed up a little bit. I want to replace the number 4 bolt, and I need to write that down, with a 2.5 inch and I need 2.5 inch number 4 bolt M6, and I got some M6 dies I ordered. Most M6 is like M6-1, but I saw some others and I ordered them online and their dies, and I'll figure out what I really need here later. But I'm looking for an M6.5. M6-1 is like coarse and the most common size. And let's see, besides that, and some of the stuff I'm reading to you is for my own edification, and we have 5W30 motor oil as per the book. The oil filter adapter I got in Felpro, and I didn't write down the part number yet, but I also have it in General Motors 888-93989. And then to tighten the oil pump, it was 5/8 inch socket, 65 foot-pounds. The corner flange bolts, the two in the front, are SAE 516-18, and they're 3/4 inch long with a 1/2 inch socket. The rear corner flange nuts are SAE 516-18. Yeah, and those were kind of interesting because those are the nuts, but they go on to studs. The oil pan studs are SAE 1/4-20, 3/4 inch long, and the two studs for the transmission line and that were like 10mm deep well sockets. Yeah, the flange bolts are too short. Okay, I don't know what that, sometimes I don't understand my own notes. And then flange bolts and nuts. Alright, for the motor mounts I did M10-150 times 1 inch long, and I used panhead bolts and panhead nuts, serrated if I could get them. And I need to buy some more rough totes, and so have a lot of technical information already posted online that might help somebody. I put it up in the media. I take pictures out of here or my own research, like what I have here, and then post those. Once I validated it, once I think it's accurate, I put it up. And if it's wrong, somebody can tell me and I'll take it down. That's the cool thing about the media and file section of the Facebook groups. You can put stuff up or take it down. But I want to install this starter before it starts raining again. We've had a tropical system in the area, so that's kept me from working outdoors as much as I wanted to. Plus I had a hot water heater fail, so because of that I had to take the whole day yesterday and the day before to get a new hot water heater, and I have it almost installed, but I'm not done yet. But that's a whole different video production. That'll be separate. So people, I hope any of this is interesting, and this is Dennis Seatsma, Dennis John Seatsma Productions, Homestead, Florida. Do-it-yourself work can result in death or injury, so do it at your own risk or hire a professional. I think a lot of you should hire professionals, because this, I like doing it, but it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Thanks for watching. Okay people, I had to deviate from the service manual a little bit. We got the front bolt is number 1. Number 2 from the front is a pan bolt. Yeah, okay, number 1, the bigger bolt, is all the way in the front. Number 2 is a regular SAE 4x20 bolt. Number 3 is a stud that has the transmission cooler line clips, with the clips facing out away from the pan. And then 4 was a stud. 4 and 5 are studs that hold the 4 and 5 are studs that hold the battery cable. This big honking battery cable. Now it's 8 o'clock at night, and these little tiny mosquitoes just came out and they're hungry. So I'm not going to hang the starter tonight, but I got all these pan bolts sorted. The book figure in the service manual is different. They show studs on number 2 and 3, but actually number 2 is a 4x20 bolt 3/4 inch, and 3 and 4 are studs that hold the battery cable. At least that's how it came from the factory. And let's see, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 4 and 5 of the battery cables, and then 6 and 7 are regular 4x20 3/4 inch bolts, and then the last stud is the one at the back of the pan, if I can get it on camera. Anyway, the one at the back of the pan, you'll notice, is a special stud, and it's got like an E6 or an E7 Torx to get the stud in, and then you put the nut, and the nut is bigger. The nut in the back, that is the same size as the bolt in the front. So whatever that is, I said it earlier. I think this is going to be the last for today. I'm going to get cleaned up and go get some dinner, and thank you folks for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if there's anything interesting here. Like this setup on the pan bolts has to be exactly right to support the starter, and exactly right to install support the transmission cooler lines. And if you do it any other way, it just won't be as good. And I'd try to hang the starter tonight, but I'm tired, and I tend to make mistakes now when I'm tired. And anyway, this starter wire that starts the engine is purple, so maybe I'll change that blue wire on the starter for a purple one, or violet if I can, before I hang the starter on there. But now that I got the prep done, it shouldn't take too long. And by leaving this cover off, I can check the spec. It's supposed to be 20 thousandths of an inch between this starter ring and the teeth of the starter. And I've tried to do it in the past and I've failed. And then I also can bolt up the bolts to the torque converter. I'll be fresh in the morning, so I can do that on the 21st of August 2024. And then I can do the electrical stuff and put some oil in it and do the oil pressure test, and I'm sure it'll be fine. But I don't want to mess this up. I want this to be a good installation, because I plan to use this vehicle a lot after I solve the leaking on the windshield, above the windshield. And anybody knows a good body shop, let me know. I'll take it by there for an estimate. I'm in southeast Florida, south of Miami, north of Key Largo. And the things I said about the transmission, I forgot I had a problem with the fuse holder. That ATC fuse holder had busted, and I had no power going to the transmission, so the transmission was in limp mode, this 4L60E. So once I get this engine running, I don't think I'll have any problem with the transmission. I doubt it, but we'll see. Stay tuned. I hope you're enjoying this video diary. This is not a how-to. I make mistakes. This is a video log, a video production. Dennis Sietsma, Homestead, Florida, USA. Do-it-yourself work can be dangerous, can result in death or injury, so do it at your own risk, or don't do it. Hire a professional. And I'm not a professional automotive or marine technician, and I'm not making any money on this until I have over 4,000 subscribers. But I'm not doing these videos to make money. I'm doing these videos for the love of the sport, for fellow Astro van enthusiasts, either now or in the future, that might find this information beneficial, especially when it comes to tools. If I didn't have a deep well in several lengths, M10, 10 millimeter, and I didn't have a 7/16 deep well, I would be sucking wind trying to do these things. Having the right tools makes the job a lot easier. And even if you got to buy some tools, it's worth it because you save time. Again, people, hope you're enjoying it. Thanks for watching. Hope you find it interesting.